good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Uh, I usually come up with topics for me and my wife to talk about, and I brought up one to her earlier, but I decided to find something else to discuss, and something that I kind of touched on before, but not really with her as far as what her life as far as, and that was the party scene, and like I talked about my life in the party scene, clubs, hanging out and doing shit like that. But for me, it started later in life. It started when I was like 30, 33 years old. I wasn't like a 21-year-old or 18-year-old at clubs. I didn't do all that stuff. I didn't even really know about clubs back then.
Why do you think that is that? Because you were out at that time, right?
Yeah, I was out, but I was I was from the streets. We didn't go hang out at clubs. We'd hang out in people's backyard, barbecues, carne asadas, in people's garages, or we go to the park and have throw picnics or whatever, and we drink doing that kind of stuff. We didn't people would be playing music, and we were used to the backyard type things where we're just hanging out in somebody's backyard or their garage. I didn't really know too much about nightclubs until 2007. Yeah, 2007 when I first started hanging out in nightclubs. But when did you start hanging out in nightclubs, and who were you hanging around with at those times? Who did you hang around with, and where were you hanging out at? Because you grew up in Azusa, you grew up in San Gabriel Valley, and there was a lot of clubs out in that area. Because you can do San Gabriel Valley, but you guys can also go right into LA to like Baby Doe's and Quiet Canyon and all that shit, which is part of LA. But then you also had like the spots over there, like I think it was Monrovia had some spots over there in downtown Monrovia, and there was like a pool hall in downtown Monrovia, something 2000. I can't remember.
No, it was called something else. Oh.
Yeah, they walk up the stairs.
Yes.
And there's a big pool hall there, but everybody used to go there and party right there. But when I went there, it was called something 2000. It was in 90. It was about 2008 when I went there.
Yeah, because I used to go there. I know what you're talking about. I used to go there like in 2002, 2003. It was called something else. But yeah, it's that. Those stairs.
Isn't there a park across the street?
I used to go at night, so I don't even remember. Yeah, I think there is.
Like in the middle of downtown Monrovia, I think there was a park across the street, and then right there was that place you walk up the stairs, and I remember when I went, there was a big pool hall. I don't know there was dancing and shit there too, but it was mainly a big giant pool hall. There was a bunch of pool tables there, and everyone went there to play pool or at a party there. But like I said, I was doing the shit in 2008 is when I started really partying at clubs. I didn't party when I was 18, 19 years old. I didn't do all that stuff. I didn't know nothing about it.
So I started going to clubs and doing the club scene when I was 18. So I grew up in a very conservative family, very religious home. I wasn't allowed to go spend the night at people's houses. I wasn't allowed to go to. We weren't to the movies or stuff like that. It was just I grew up independent fundamental Baptist, which is weird because I just saw a documentary on this religion not that long ago, and it was really hard to watch because it was so kind of spot on. But I grew up in that very strict life. When I turned 18, I kind of started rebelling a little bit. My mom kicked me out of the house. And I remember it was the first time I ever came home past my curfew. And I think my curfew was supposed to be midnight. And I walked in like at 2 a.m. or something like that. And the next morning, my cousin, who was 10 years older than me, was there. And she's like, so my tia told me that you can't live here anymore, so you're going to come live with me.
Who's it, Erica?
No, my cousin Jenny.
Oh.
Which I was like, okay, cool.
But
prior to that,
did you party with your brother though? Is he older than you?
I'm older.
Okay, so he's a party with you, right?
But that was your type of partying. Like we would
backyard parties and shit.
So I was.
But how was he getting away with this shit then?
Because he's a boy and I'm a girl.
Oh.
It was different. it just was very different. We were raised poor, so
Did he have his own fucking clothes made too?
he had his no, he never did. I had my clothes made when I was a little kid. No, I was partying. We were partying. That's probably why I got kicked out. I was just hanging out with the wrong people, wrong crowd, getting into trouble and stuff like that. I had very different scenes, and then my cousin came and introduced me to the club scene. Is when I started hanging out with her.
Who?
My cousin Jenny.
The one you live with?
The one that I lived with. She's the one that introduced me to the whole club scene. She was 10 years older than me. So I was 18.
That reminds me of my aunt.
She was 28. And I was going to Hollywood and LA. So we would go to...
Palladium? Is it the Palladium? No.
No, we would go to Century Club. And they knew all the bouncers.
Century Club? I thought that was in Inglewood. That's in Hollywood?
I'm telling you, we would party down there.
Oh.
I'm naming all the different clubs that we used to go to. So we would go to Century Club was a big one. The Stock Exchange was another one.
Never been there, heard that one.
We would go to the Mayan down there.
You guys were with the fucking rich people.
Huh?
You guys were hanging around the rich people.
Yeah, we were.
Those are fucking bourgeois clubs. I never went to the fucking Mayan or Viper Room or none of that shit.
Oh, we would go there. We did a lot of that, and then we would. It was just all a big every weekend, Friday night, Saturday night. I remember I would come home and my cousin would have my outfits already picked out for me. Because I was a baby. I was little, and I wasn't even supposed to be in those places. It was 21 and over, but because of them, we were able to get in. I always got in. Never questioned, not once. But then we would also do other, like, local clubs, which would be like, I don't know if anybody remembers Wings off the 10.
What city?
West Covina. It was like...
Crazy Horse before? Or that's not
No, that at the time was...
Wings, where
Wings was off of Barranca and the 10. So if you were coming from like LA and you were going into West Covina, you exit Barranca, you would make a right, and in that 2-story building right there was a underground parking, and
by the end out.
Yes, that was Wings.
Oh, I didn't know there was a club there. I know that it's like a 5-story building or whatever the fuck it is over there. It's right next to right across the street from In-N-Out, but I didn't know because it's right down the street is a Cadillac dealership.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know there was a club there.
There was a club there, and it was a really popular club. It was Wings, and we would go there. There was another one, and I can't remember what it's called. It was right off the 10 freeway, where I don't even remember what it was called. It was off the 10 freeway too. Get off the freeway. And it was in a parking lot, the same parking lot where I think Guadalajara Grill was at. Do you remember Guadalajara Grill?
We used to go. That's off of Francisquito, right? Isn't it? Is it Francisquito?
I think so.
Francisquito, yeah.
There was a club there that we would go to.
We used to go to Guadalajara Grill, but that was called the Guadalajara Grill.
No, there was a club in there in that same parking lot. Or was it Denny's? Wasn't there a Denny's there?
There's a Denny's there. Yeah, there's a Denny's there.
Okay.
But there's a Guadalajara Grill. That's everybody's a party there, but I didn't know it was something different before. But I remember we used to go there and hang out before.
No, so the Mexican bar, that place was always there. But I'm talking about there was out in the corner, stuck in the corner, there was a club there. But I can't remember the name of it. If you guys can remember, tag it or, comment on it. There was one there. But then I would go with like my other friends and
Puente Avenue.
Yes.
Yeah, you get on Puente Avenue.
Yes, and you make a right.
Make a right.
Yes.
If you make a left, you're going to go to Puente Avenue where the Harley Davidson dealership was at. People wanted the freeway.
Yes.
But when you make a right, it's the Denny's and Guadalajara Grill and the hotel's right there. I don't know, Holiday Inn or some shit's right next to it.
But I don't think the hotel was there at the time. I think that was built after. So I was partying. I was going to all these places. I was going to Mr. J's in South El Monte. I was going to...
Wait, is that a pool hall?
Mr. J's was like a little hole-in-the-wall... I don't know. It was
no, because there's a place it's not the same place you're thinking about. Because I remember my friend Joe took me to a pool hall one time in South El Monte, but it's a pool hall. It was just a big fucking pool hall in South El Monte. Might still even be there, but it was like a fucking dump. But it was an actual pool hall. That's why it has pool tables there. It wasn't a club.
This was a club bar It was Mr. J's in South El Monte. I would go to Florentine Gardens in Hollywood. Do you remember that?
I've never been there, but I.
We would go on K-Rock nights with my friends. We would go on K-Rock nights. I was a huge K-Rocker. Love. Richard. I saw Richard Blade there.
Richard Blade.
Yeah.
That name sounds familiar.
Yeah, he was the DJ for K-Rock.
I don't know why. I'm thinking. I think like fucking Richard Humphrey Vision and all them guys.
But
that's
Power. That was Power.
Music.
Yeah.
Richard Humphrey Vision and who's the other one? Bad Boy Bill.
We go to Baby Doe's, Quiet Canyon. Those were all the clubs that I used to go to. But then I would go with a different set of people, and we would go to I would go with my cousin. We went to the Hop a couple times. But this was all for me.
She's older.
All for me. It was all in the early 90s. So I graduated in 91. I probably moved in with her at 92. I was doing all of that in 92, 93, 94.
You never went back home?
I never went back home.
After that, you stayed out?
No, I was always on my own. I would go back if I moved in with Will's dad. And then when we broke up, I went home. I would go home for small until I can get my shit together, and then I would move out. I could never move back with my mom.
So when you hung out with your brother, you just did backyard shit with him. He didn't do clubs.
My brother did not do clubs, and to this day he doesn't do clubs. He only does bars.
Yeah, okay, so he was a bar type guy.
Yeah, he was more of a bar type guy. His friends were more party people, more of house party people. Party people.
Were you doing drugs at the time?
I was doing drugs. I started doing drugs. I started doing pretty heavy drugs.
Well, heavy means like cocaine.
Yeah.
You were doing heroin?
I was doing. No, I never did that. To me, it was heavy. I was doing meth and cocaine, but cocaine didn't really.
You doing all ecstasy and all that bullshit too?
I did acid. I did acid a couple times. Worst trip ever. Never did it again after that. But yeah, I mean, when I would go out with my cousins and stuff, when we were going to Hollywood and LA and doing all those party scenes, we would do some cocaine, for the night, and drinking, walking into 3-4 o'clock in the morning, having to go to work the next day. But it was every weekend, Friday night, Saturday night, Sundays was just recovering.
So I knew your cousin Erica since I met Erica in 1995, and I was hanging out with Erica until around 1998, when I kind of went separate from everybody else for 3 years. Okay, so for 3 years, I was always around her. Almost every weekend I was over there in Puente, always out right there hanging out with them, and I had never met you before. So obviously you were not hanging around her at that time.
No, I was hanging out with our older cousins. Because I'm older than Erica, so she was younger.
Yeah, she's younger than me. But you're older than me.
I want to say I'm 6 years older than her. So at that time, I was 24. She was probably 18.
Well, how old is she?
She's 6 years younger than me. So she's 45, 40, 44, 45.
Yeah, she's somewhere around. Yeah, I'm 49, so all the other guys, everybody else was wrong. They were all a little bit younger than me, yeah. So
but as we got older, we started hanging out together. So I had gotten married and moved to Ohio, and I was there for about 4 years. And when I came back, we were all really close because Erica's family we all lived together at one point. So we all grew up together. And then we would hang out. She was closer to my brother. Her and my brother are close cousins.
Well, how much older are you from your brother?
My brother?
1 year?
Almost 2 years.
Oh.
Yeah. So I did a lot of partying on my own with my older cousins, while they probably hung out more.
But the thing that you did with your brother is more like concert shit.
With
you and his wife.
Yes.
Because he's been with her since back then, wasn't he?
Yeah, since they were 18, since they were 19.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, my oldest son is 29, and I remember her going to his first birthday party. That's when they were dating. So she's been with my brother for a long time. But Yeah, I did more concerts with them. I've been to every single concert you could possibly think of. All the concerts, we would go everywhere. The last concert I went with my brother to was Guns N' Roses. For my birthday, he got me tickets to Guns N' Roses when they first came out and they redid their tour. And he got a ticket for him and I to go to San Diego, and him and I went to San Diego. It was for my birthday. I love my brother.
Yeah, because
He's so cool.
I didn't think I was. I started partying in 2008. It was 2008. I started working as a bouncer in 2007 at Sevilla's. I was bouncing before that though, at. Uh,
See, those are places I didn't go to. We didn't go out that way. We did more of like West Covina.
I used to be over there in West Covina, but there was a spot in West Covina to go to. I can't remember the name. Oh, I think it was called the Red Room.
No, Red something, because I was thinking about it. It's where Nationals is at, or whatever.
No. You're
the Elephant Room was another place
Nationals
too.
was there.
Safari Bar. Remember Safari Bar?
Yeah, but Nationals was there, and then it turned into Crazy Horse, because I remember going to Nationals with my cousin, and he had a fucking beer mug. You could buy a beer mug there, and they would engrave your name on it, and they would keep it in the back. And when you came there, you have this big beer mug that you could say, hey, my name's such and such, and they go back there, get your beer mug that you had your name engraved on it, and then they would serve your beer in that beer mug. That was Nationals. But then it turned into Crazy Horse.
Nationals was a big sports bar.
Yeah, but then
like
it turned
big
into,
sports bar.
But then it turned into Crazy Horse.
Yes.
And then Crazy Horse would
The
shut
Red
down.
Onion.
Oh, the
That's
Red
what
Onion.
I
I
was
never
trying.
been there.
I was there. I used to go to
The
Red
Red
Onion
Room
all the time.
was, what's the exit right there? Vincent's? So you get a Vincent.
It's by the mall.
Okay,
It's
but
same shopping space.
not in the same parking lot as the mall. On the other side of the park, on the other side of the street was a place called the Red Room, because my friends used to be promoters there, and we used to go over there. I used to go get in for free, hang out for free. I didn't have to pay for nothing right there. It was called the Red Room, and that was right there. There's a seafood spot right there now, but that was right there on Vincent's. But then I would party at Scribbles, which was in Diamond Bar. I worked there, but I would party there also. That was off of
That's
Diamond Bar
crazy. Our
Boulevard.
lives never really, our paths didn't cross.
But I never really went further than
Yeah.
that. I never went further. Well, I did go to. I used to go to that place I told you in Azusa called. I mean, in Monrovia, that pool hall, and party right there. But I just can't remember. It was something 2000. I just can't remember the name of it. I knew it had something 2000 on it. And then I didn't party at Crazy Horse. I went to National when it was National, but I never partied at Crazy Horse. But Crazy Horse, from what I understand, was like one of the best places to party. That was one of the best clubs out in the San Gabriel Valley. Was Crazy Horse.
It always changed names, but it was always a fun spot. When I started going out and going to like clubs or bars or anything like that, I remember it was the Red Onion, and we would go there too. We'd go to the Red Onion.
What was that though?
Right there where Nationals was at. Before it was Nationals or Crazy Horse, it was the Red Onion.
Okay, but I think there was another one. But
There
was another one somewhere in LA, somewhere called the Little Red Onion, that I knew my mom used to go there. My mom used to hang out there, but that was years ago. Like, that was in the late 80s. So she used to go to a place called Little Red Onion. But it wasn't that one you're talking about. Because I can't see my mom going all the way the fuck out there to go party and shit. But another good spot.
Safari Bar was another one too.
What was that though? I know the name, but I'm just trying to figure out where was that.
Right off of Barranca, where on the other side of the freeway, on the north side of the freeway.
Yeah, I've never been there. I remember the name, Safari Bar.
Safari Bar was on the north side of the freeway, and Wings was on the south side of the 10. Like, where you like the Cadillac.
They're the same exit.
Same exit.
Yeah, because you're over there by. Isn't that by the mall? I mean,
by the mall.
Eastern Center.
Eastern Center.
Eastern Center, yes.
And then, because I grew up in Azusa, we would go to all of the small little bars too. So it just depended. Like, at some point I grew, I stopped hanging out with my older cousins, well, because they were older. So they were older than me. They were like 10, 15 years older than me. Then we started going to like Callahan's.
Where's that?
These are all just local bars.
But isn't that the one that's on fucking Azusa? In West Covina, by the high school. It's in the back, way in the back. You drive down the driveway, it's in the back. No. Or is that the one that's on Irwindale Boulevard?
That's on Irwindale.
Yeah, you talking about the one on Irwindale that's on the corner.
Mm-hmm. I think it still might be there.
It's still there. I went there before I met you. I went there. I partied there a couple times before I met you. We rode bikes out there, me and a bunch of people. It's still right there.
Oh yeah.
But there's the other one that's on
There's Alvy's. That was a big one too that a lot of people would go to. Small little places, but we would always party there. Then there was what was the other one? I'm so horrible with names. Alvy's, Callahan's, Cahoots.
Okay, what's that one? That name sounds familiar too. Cahoots.
Rendezvous.
Where's Cahoots at?
I can't even remember what these places are.
I'm thinking about In Cahoots, and that was in Riverside. In Cahoots was in Riverside. I know about that place. But again, I was
Rude Dog.
In Covina?
Mm-hmm.
That was there back then?
Yeah, it's always been around, but it was smaller. Now, they bought the building or the space next to them, so they grew it bigger.
But even to this day, I've never been to that place.
Across the street.
I've never partied in West Covina, in downtown Covina ever. Not one time I ever partied in downtown Covina. People always say when they go downtown Covina, like, I don't want to go there. I've never partied over there ever.
I would go across the place across the street was a club, and it was I think it was the Red Room too. The next to it was the Red Room, and I don't know why I'm blanking. I can't remember the name of the club. But yeah.
What we were doing like I said, we were doing Scribbles, Diamond Bar. A big one was Godfather's in Chino, especially on Wednesdays because they had dollar drinks.
That's a bar though, huh?
It was a club. Yeah,
club
dance floor.
You know, one time I tried to get a job there. When I came back from Ohio, I was trying to get like a second job. And I went in, I knew somebody that was a bouncer there. And he was like, hey, they might be looking for somebody, just fill out an application. So I filled out an application and they never called me. But I was looking for a second job. That was probably in 2006.
Okay, no, I started working there in 2007.
I was there in 2007.
But I started partying there. I started doing a lot of partying in 2008. 2007, I was really working. And then around 2008, I was working plus partying. So some days I would call sick. I would call my boss and say, hey, I'm not going to come in today. Like, all right, cool. And then, because I wasn't the supervisor of that club, I was a supervisor at Sevilla's. So on my days off, like Wednesdays, Sevilla's was good. But on Wednesdays, I would work. Sometimes I would work on Wednesdays over at Godfather in Chino, and then but I knew so many people that party there, so I would tell them like, I'd call my boss and say, hey, I'm not gonna come to work today. I'm gonna take the day. All right, no problem. And I would show up there, and I'd be on my regular clothes and shit. And like, what the fuck? You over here partying? Like, yeah. And like, you're supposed to be working. Like, I didn't want to work today, and I would party because they had dollar drink nights there. So any fucking well drink you wanted was $1. So you can go there with $20 and just get fucking obliterated. You'd be fucking drunk as shit because you're getting well drinks for $1. We'd be fucked up fighting in the parking lot all the time, you know. And then my friends were all the bouncers. So if my friends, the bouncers, got into problems with people out there, then I'd go out there and help my friends that were bouncers and whoop people's asses out there. I was in my street clothes. So we partied at Godfather's. I partied at Scribbles, Sevilla's. What else? Oh, Rockin' Taco in Fullerton. That was a good place. Even though it was super small, the building was like as wide as our garage. And it went all the way to the back, but it was so small. They had a fucking piano bar in there and all that shit, but it was so crowded in there. And that's why I really didn't like going in there, because it was guaranteed you're going to get into a fucking fight because you're bumping into people the whole night. So I didn't really like party at Rockin' Taco, but Rockin' Taco was a good spot that everybody hung out at. But I think my favorite spots to go to was the Hop. The Hop was because I knew everybody there. I didn't work there. I knew everybody there. And we bounced from the Hop to Zambejas, which is still there.
My cousin and I would go to the Hop. I think we went there like maybe twice, 2 or 3 times, or maybe a handful of times. But I just remember being a little gangsterish.
Yeah, that's why I liked it. That's why I liked it, because it was a club. It
wasn't really our scene.
It was a club. It wasn't a bunch of fucking what do you call it, the K-Rock type people. It wasn't them. Uh-huh. It was fucking gangsters there and cholos and shit that were trying to dress up and shit. They'd have their fucking peltons tucked in and shit, like trying to look classy. It's like, because you couldn't go in there with your shirt untucked and shit, so they tuck in their fucking peltons and shit, you know. And it was a bunch of gangsters there and a bunch of cholos hanging out there.
I think we would go.
And they always played fucking Brentwood.
Yeah. I think we would go when we were we wanted to go somewhere, but we didn't want to go to LA. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we would go. I remember her saying, "Oh, let's just go to the Hop," and we would go. But I remember I was like, "God, these are a lot of gangsters here."
But then we used to go over to down over there off the 16 Workman Mill to Peppers. It was Camacho's at one point.
Oh.
But then it became Peppers, and the reason why is because Latin's Finest, the male strippers, used to have a male review there on like Saturday nights, and they would only let women in. So you go there, and it'll be nothing but fucking chicks lined up out there for the Latin strip club, strip tease shit. And so it'd be nothing but fucking chicks outside lined up there. And I think it was at like 9 o'clock, they opened the door to the men, so men can come in. By that time, the girls were already drunk.
I never did that.
What?
I never went to see that.
Oh, to see that?
I would go to female strip clubs.
No,
I would never go to the male ones though.
The male review was fucking Latin
But
Finest.
they were huge. I dated a guy that.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised they don't do that shit no more, because that was a good moneymaker right there. Because they were making
huge.
Camachos were making a lot of money.
Do you remember when they would do backyard parties, like flyer parties? I used to do that too.
I used to
do those where you would go to one location. This was before cell phones though. You would go to one location, there was somebody be there, and you would get a little flyer to the second location where you would get the address to go. And they were like warehouse parties and stuff. Did you ever do those kind of parties?
We just go pass out
We
flyers.
used to do that in the late 80s, early 90s. That's when we would do it.
No, we just passed out a fucking flyer. I did flyer party. I did them in my house.
Oh, you told me about that.
I did it in my house. And when it turned out bad, the fucking one time it turned out really bad, but
I remember. Do they even do that anymore? They don't do house parties anymore.
No house parties like that no more. No more flyer parties and stuff. Shit, no more ditching parties. The kids don't do ditching parties no more. Back in the 90s, they were doing ditching parties and shit during the daytime. They don't do that kind of shit no more. These kids are fucking weird. Back in the day, there was ditching parties and shit like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of all the partying. I've done a lot of partying in my life.
One thing we haven't done, and I probably wouldn't do it now. I mean, I'm almost fucking 50 years old, but is now they have the Scam and Jam, which is they do that. They bounce that shit all over the fucking place.
I would do that with you.
Scam and Jam. I wouldn't do it. Bunch of fucking weirdos now.
But just to say we do it. See, I would still like to do, like, at least to say we did it once. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things that I haven't gone to or done that I want to do with you. Let's just say, like, we did it. You know, you took me there. You know, I haven't done that one.
Yeah, I used to want to go when I first started doing Scam and Jam. I was like, oh shit, this.
You know who likes going to those a lot is my cousin Melissa.
She's been to them.
Yeah. She would always hit me up and say, hey, let's go, and I would ask and be like, I don't want to go.
Yeah,
but I want to go. We could say we could go. We can get a little group together and we could go. We're gonna go.
I don't know, but like I said, I didn't start partying until like 2008.
I've always
all my years I didn't really party, but it reminds me when you're talking about your aunt. It reminds me of when
my older cousin.
My aunt, when I was
little,
I was 13, and she was already like 21, and we were in Fresno. I moved out there with her, and then she would hang out at clubs with her friends out there, and it was like,
get you in.
Yeah, she would get me in. They knew I was a kid. They didn't give a fuck because they knew her. The bouncers all knew her.
That's
so
how
when we got there, they were like, just go in. And so I'm like 13 years old. I'm at like Chiquitos in Fontana. Chiquitos in Fresno. Intimos in Fresno. Where else? There was another one. There was like 3 different clubs that she would hang out with her friends. And then like we sit down at a table, and you know, guys want to try to hit on these fucking women and shit, so they come around, start, you know, hitting on my aunt and her friends and shit like that, and they were like, oh yeah, you can kick it, like, buy us some beers. And so these dudes would sit down at the table with us and buy her beers, and like, she wasn't interested in them, she just wanted free beer. And so she would like, make sure you buy my nephew beer, make sure he's taken care of, and like, they would buy me fucking Coronas, and I'd be sitting at 13 years old in a club that's like 21 and over, be sitting in the club just fucking drinking, and then the women were like, they didn't want to dance with them dudes, so they're like, come on, Michael, let's go dance. And I'm like, I don't dance. Like, you're going to dance right now, let's go. So then I'd be on the dance floor, dance with these fucking older, well, they were older to me, they were like 21 years old. But I'd be on the dance floor, dancing with these fucking women and shit with a Corona, and I'm only 13 years old.
Yeah.
But that time, I was partying at clubs with my aunt. But then after that, I really wasn't into it no more. It wasn't really my thing. My thing was hanging out with the homies and fucking be like I used to hang out at Robert's house over in Puente. Be in his fucking front yard or backyard drinking and shit, hang out and barbecuing. It was always about barbecuing, and then at the end, later on in the evening, it was about partying, drinking, and getting as fucked up as you possibly can. But we weren't hanging out at clubs.
Yeah, I even did the whole Vegas club scene too.
Yeah, I know, and I was thinking about that shit too right now because I've always thought about that because
What?
I know that you were doing that with your friend Carol.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'd never asked you about it. Really, I'd never asked you about it.
Uh-huh.
But I knew other people that were doing that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
I knew other women that were doing that. They would leave here and go to Vegas and do shit. They were doing it for fucking NFL. They were doing it for Playboy. They were doing it for different big companies. They were saying they were greeters and all that shit like that. And I used to think like, you guys are selling ass out here. You guys are hooking it. Like, come on. I used to think that like when this other chick that she tell me like that's what she does. Like, you're out here fucking. You're not just fucking a greeter and making that much money. You know what I mean? Because you'd make a lot of money. It's like you're fucking. Like she was hooking. I knew she. Like you gotta be hooking. You ain't making that much money fucking standing at the door just like, come on in, or serving a fucking drink or walking around with a tray. You're hooking.
You'd be so your brain.
So I always thought about that when I knew. I never asked you, but when you were telling me like, I used to go out to me and Carol used to just like, they were fucking hooking. They were hooking. There's no way they.
What do you mean hooking? Like prostitutes?
Yeah,
No.
that's what we were doing out there, prostituting.
No, we would never.
I never asked you because I was like, if she was a prostitute at one point in time, I wasn't there. I don't care.
No.
But I was like, I think that she was a prostitute at one time.
When you said hooking me, hooking up? Or what are you talking about?
Selling ass.
No, I would never did that.
I always thought that, like, she was selling ass out there. There's no way she was making good money doing like her and Carol. They were fucking selling ass, you know.
No.
Like if one of these guys liked her, like, hey, you know, I got $2,000. Let's go upstairs. Like,
No, it was never like that. No, we really did get paid.
because I knew girls that were doing that.
We would. They would pay for our room. They would pay for. We got paid for the weekend.
See, I'm clearing it up right now because I didn't know. I never asked.
Yeah.
I never asked her about her past.
Yeah.
But I always had it in my mind that she was a hooker at one time.
No, I really no. I can't believe that.
Yeah, I always thought that. Like, she was. Cause I knew girls that were doing it.
So you guys are. It's coming out right now. He's never asked me. This is the first time he's asking me. This whole time you thought I was a hooker? No.
Well, I know you were a hooker, but I know you. I was thinking like, right in my mind, her and Carol probably fucking.
No. So we were.
They were greeters.
No, it's not. It wasn't greeters. We used to call ourselves the will call girls. So what it was.
Yeah, you know what that means.
No, when you would will call. So we would help this party group. I guess it was called, but it was for a certain group of people, and anybody who bought bands and they weren't able to pick them up or get them shipped in time or ordered in time, they would set up a table for us. Sometimes it would be, depending on the hotel that it was at, sometimes it would be in the lobby or it would be in a conference room. It was really a big table, and it had all these bands with the flyers for the whole week and all the parties that the band can get you in. And then also, we were also, told to, try to sell them to people who were just walking by and stuff. And we would sell them and stuff. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. We got paid for the weekend. We got the room paid. We got money for food because we didn't really party. So even at all these parties, we were set up at a table so that people can go pick up their bands if they weren't able to pick them up prior. So it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. But then at a certain time, they would be like, okay, just shut it down. There was no more people coming by to pick up their bands or anything like that. And they just shut it down, and we would go to the table. We always had an area because we were working it that we would meet up with everybody else and that we would sit there and we would party. So we did that. It was fun. Yeah, I did that for a while. And then it just got old.
I knew other girls that were doing the same shit.
I did it for about 5 years, and as you're getting older, I'm not young, so I was older already. But it was like as the years went by, the crowd just seemed more younger, and it seemed like it was getting younger and younger and younger, and I was just like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore, and I stopped doing it. I stopped doing it before you.
Well, I know. I wouldn't let you do it now.
No, but before you had already stopped.
Yeah, I know.
I think it was like 2 years. I hadn't done it like in 2 years by the time I had met you, because it was just, they had asked, and I remember they had asked if, you know, if I were interested, because we would even do.
Yeah, because I remember when we first got together, they wanted you to go out there.
No, I don't think it was out there. I think it was a because we used to do Vegas, Palm Springs, and City of Industry. They had 3 big parties they would do every year. And then I remember they had asked, and I was like, yeah, no, it's not worth it. I was already over it.
I mean, that's her story.
No.
Me, like I said, I knew girls that were doing the same shit.
Girls
no, but I'm just saying. I didn't say you. I'm just saying. I knew girls that were doing the same shit, but they were making like a few thousand every time they went out there. But they were fucking. I mean, that's what they were doing. They were going out there doing their little meet greet bullshit, whatever they're doing. And if a motherfucker offered them the right amount of money, they go up to the room, fucking knock them off real quick, and come back with their money, go back to doing what they're doing.
That was never. I've never been propositioned ever. I was never propositioned. That's wild. I didn't know that even happened.
Yeah, because I knew a girl that said she was doing it for fucking NFL. She was doing it for Playboy. She worked for all these different companies that had the little things like that, the parties and shit in Vegas. But they were doing Vegas. But their flights were paid for. That's the thing, because their flights were paid for, their hotels were paid for, their food paid for, their drinks were paid for. Plus, they were getting paid, and they were coming back with thousands of dollars. It's like, come on, coming from club promoting, I'm paying bitches like $50 to stand in front of a club and pass out flyers. That's it. You ain't getting nothing else. You know what I mean? But these women were getting everything paid for, all expenses paid for. And they were still partying for free. Yeah, when they got there, they were partying for free. And they were coming back with thousands of dollars. It's like, dude, I mean, you guys are making that much money where you pay each chick like $3,000 plus pay for all their shit. You're talking about maybe $5,000 per chick for the hotel, food, drinks, everything plus the pay. You're getting about $5,000 per chick. If you got like 5 chicks, that's $25,000 right there. So your parties must be extravagant.
They were pretty big. They were pretty big parties. The amount of money that was handled, that was given to us, I mean, it was.
Well, I can see that because when I met Jarek and them, Lucky, and we're at Sevilla's, and at the end of the night, I mean, Jarek and them were taking in $20 or $25 per person that came into that club. I think the club held like 300 people. So you figure 300 times 20, that's their door money. And they'd be in there just fucking counting cash. And I'm like, God damn, like that's why I got into doing it. Because like I would sit there and just, they'd be like, hey, we're gonna count the money, come inside. Because I was a security. So I go inside, see them count the money, like this is a small ass club compared to Vegas where you're paying even more money.
Yeah.
And the bottle service is ridiculous.
Well, that's why I think they would always ask us to do it, because you have to trust people, right? So if they asked, she was the one who actually kind of brought me in. She knew them way before I did.
Oh, Carol?
Yeah.
Oh.
She knew them from the party scene. And then when I came back from Ohio, that was in 2000, the beginning of 2000, December of 2006, her and I clicked back up again, and she was all into this other scene. So I was starting to going out with her, and then that's when she knew these people, and she had done one of the years with this other girl. Well, that other girl wasn't coming back the following year, so then she asked me, she goes, hey, do you want to come? And I was like, yeah, I'll go. Her and I were already going out and doing our own stuff out here. But that's how it started. And then it was like, you have a lot of money. So these people are coming in, dropping off. They were like paying like they were dropping like $100 for a band. So imagine that. So, sometimes it would be $60 or $100, depending on the venue, on what was going on.
Was that in the 2000s or 90s? 2000s, right?
It was 2006.
Oh, okay.
2000. No, when did I do the first one? I want to say it was probably 2009, 10, 2010.
Oh, okay. I was already partying by then.
Yeah, it was like 2010. Probably the first one or 2009. I can't remember. And I did it for a while, but then they were doing the same type of parties, but in Palm Springs, and the same type of party out in City of Industry. But obviously the big one was Vegas, because Vegas was a 3-day, a 4-day, 3-night. And each night they had an event. So Friday night or Thursday they had a night. Then on Saturday and Sunday they had two events. So they would have a pool event and then the club event at that night.
I remember back then, I never went to them, but I remember them fucking in the 90s, I think it was the 90s and early 2000s. I think it was the early 2000s is when them fucking pool events were really jumping.
Oh, they're still big.
And like the Hard Rock and all that shit like that. I mean, they even had TV shows about those back then.
Yeah, I remember.
Where people were just partying at the fucking pool, at the pool parties. I never went to those. Actually, it was like 2007, 2008, 2009 because I was doing club shit, but I never went to those pool parties. I wasn't in Vegas. I was out here. But I remember my friends would go to Vegas. They would go out there and party out at the pool parties and shit like that. And I heard them things were fucking wild.
They were wild. I remember one night we were at a pool party. And remember, we always sat at either the table that was roped off or we had a cabana. So sometimes there was nighttime pool parties depending on the time. Because sometimes there was 2 parties a year sometimes in Vegas. And I remember this one, it was one of the last ones that I went to. I was sitting down on the little cabana area, but it was open, and Machine Gun Kelly was there. And he was right above me, or right next to me. I can't remember. And I remember his security was with him. And he had, he was just throwing buckets of money, just flinging it out like this, and the crowd was going crazy and wild, and literally the money was just raining down like all around me and around us. But I wasn't about to, like, people would just go. I just didn't want to do that. I remember his security guy looked at me and he went like this, pick it up, go ahead, it's for you, you can have it. And I was like, okay, and I kind of went like that with my feet, and I just took whatever I had right there like by my feet, and I ended up being like $400. So I took home $400.
You ever heard, you probably have, but it's been a while since he's been around, but there's a rapper called Ty Dolla.
Ty Dolla.
Okay,
yeah.
So he came down to Sevilla's one time when I was a security there. I was the main security at Sevilla's. He came there one time, and he was going to perform. I think it might have been for Lucky. It might have been one of Lucky's nights. Rockstar, or it was Famous or Rockstar, but they had hired that guy to come down, and at Sevilla's, it was mainly because Sevilla's only had one black night, and that black night was, I want to say it was Sundays. It was either Sundays or Thursday. One was black night, one was gay night. I can't remember which is which. But anyways, it was not on a black night. It was on a regular night with Lucky and it was Jarek and fucking Eddie. They had their fucking club night there. It was either Famous or Rockstar. So anyway, they hired this fucking Ty Dolla $ign guy when he was kind of still fresh. Ty Dolla, whatever the fuck his name is. Okay, so he comes down there with they come with their entourage and shit. They show up there, and again, it's not on black night. On black night, you can do whatever you want. You can dress the way you want. You can wear tennis shoes. You can wear jerseys, hats. You can wear your hat backwards, sideways. We don't give a fuck how you wore it. It was black night. Do whatever you want. But on the other nights, you had to be dressed a certain type of way. And he was an entertainer, so it was like they were like, oh yeah, Ty Dolla's gonna come over here and blah blah blah. So they pulled up. They pulled up in the front of the fucking club, and they're fucking with their entourage, and they start getting out and shit. And I'm the supervisor, so I'm watching these guys come. I'm in the front just watching these guys get out the fucking cars and shit. And I think the owner tells me, like, hey, is he the owner or the manager? He was the manager, Eric. Hey, these guys are not dressed appropriate. I was like, okay, what do you want to do? He's like, they have to dress appropriate to get in here. I said, but they're performing, so what do you want to do? They can't perform, they have to dress
But you're performers?
Yeah, he didn't give a fuck because he didn't want them there. He didn't want them there. He's a white dude. He didn't want to give a fuck about Ty Dollas and all other bullshit. He didn't care about that shit. They get out, they have their fucking baggy ass jeans on. This is 2000s when like T-Pain and all that shit was fucking popping, and Lil Wayne and all that shit. They had their hats on sideways and shit like that, jerseys on, all that shit like that. And this night was not for that. It was you had to be dressed up to come into this club. And so like, okay, what do you want me to do? He's like, they cannot come in here like that. I said, okay. So,
That's wild.
So
that's the
yeah,
performer.
but he don't give a fuck. He don't care. He didn't want them there. He just didn't want them there at all. So he leaves it up to me. So he's like, hey, I'm telling you right now, they cannot be dressed like that. I said, okay, that's whatever you say.
I would have been mad.
So then they come up walking up, all these fucking dudes come walking up, all of them have like the basketball jerseys on and shit like that, and tennis shoes, and their hats on sideways and shit. And I go to the front, and he's like, hey, I'm Ty Dolla, whatever, I'm here to perform. I said, oh, okay. The way you guys are dressed, it's not gonna happen, man. You can't come in here like that. He's like, oh, whoa. And all the people start gathering around, like, hey, we're the fucking, he's a performer, he's a rapper. Like, don't matter. Doesn't matter. I'm already told that you guys can't come in here like with your hats on sideways and shit like that. We don't do all that sports gear. You ain't doing that shit. It's not gonna happen. It's like, well, you're not gonna let us perform. I said, if you don't change your fucking clothes,
you can't
and come in here right, you're not gonna fucking do it. And they were like looking at each other, like, what the fuck?
I know, that's weird.
Like,
they're right.
Usually
the performers can dress whatever they want.
But he just didn't like them. He didn't want them there. You know what I mean? So I'm like, they were like, we're performing. He's a rap star. Like, don't give a fuck who you are. You're not gonna come in here like that. I had already called my security guard. Like, hey, get down here to the front, man, because we might just start fucking these dudes up. I had like 10 security guards there. Some of them were MMA fighters. So I was like, come down over to the front, man. We're about to fuck these dudes up. And I just got told him, say, you can't come in here. That's it. You can't be dressed with your hats on sideways. You can't wear hats, first of all. There's no fucking hats. There's no fucking baseball or football or fucking basketball jerseys. You're not wearing that.
So mad.
There's no fucking tennis shoes. You cannot wear white tennis shoes.
What do you want?
They have the fucking white Air Force Ones and shit. You can't have that stuff. This is not that kind of night, man. But we're performing. He's a performer. He's a rap star.
This is his performance outfit.
We don't give a fuck who you are. You're not coming in. That's it. So either you change or just get the fuck out of here. And that was the night that me and my guys punked them fucking dudes. We kicked them the fuck out of there. Like, you get the fuck out of here or we're going to whoop your ass.
Oh, God.
And they left. They were like, fuck it, we're out of here. Like, they didn't get paid. And I think Jerk and they were pissed off about it.
Yeah.
Because that was they hired them guys.
Yes.
Like, nah. Eric said no, he doesn't want these motherfuckers here. But then again, when I was doing that shit, Eric would come to me in the front. I'd be in the front of the club. I'm just in a suit, tie, everything like that, slacks. I'd be standing there with a trench coat on, just watching everything go on. And he's, hey Mike, like, what's up, man? At the end of the line over there, there's like fucking 4 gangsters over there. They can't come in. Okay. So then I go, oh, come on, call a couple guys. Hey, come on, let's go over here because we might have to fuck some dudes up. Go to that, toward the end of the line, and this fucking dudes in Pendletons, fucking all gangstered out and shit with their girls. They all chill it out and shit. Like, hey, check it out. It's not me, but I'm being told
you can't
come in. Why? Because you can't dress like that. Well, what's wrong with the way we're dressed? It's not happening. I ain't gonna explain that to you guys. You already know what it is. Don't play fucking dumb. Management said you can't come in. You can't come in.
Do you think that's still a thing right now?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
We need to go out.
Yeah.
Let's go out.
I think it's still a thing. Yeah, because you don't want fucking problems. You lose your liquor license. You have problems. You have a lot of problems at your club. You lose your liquor license. It's like what, $200,000 for a liquor license?
$100,000.
Yeah, you want to lose it because you want to let fucking certain people in? No, they're gonna lose it. They get the fuck out of here. Whether it's gangsters or bikers. You go to the fucking bars nowadays and clubs nowadays, you'll see that shit on the fucking, when you walk in. No colors.
No colors.
Because they'll lose their liquor license, which sucks because it's not on the bar that somebody's from a bike club or somebody's a gangster. It's not on the bar. But it's like, if you let that person in here, we'll take away your liquor license. So people are like, fuck it, I don't want to have the problem, so no, you can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's still a fucking thing. But yeah, I mean, and they were like, but I would tell the guys, like, hey, check it out. Go home, change, put on a nice button-up shirt, come back. If you come back, I'll let you in for free. I won't charge you nothing. I'll tell them.
Would they come back?
Sometimes they would. Sometimes I mean met certain guys that I was friends with for years.
Because of that.
Because they come back like, hey, bro, we appreciate you. I told you I'll let you in for free, right? Yeah, okay, then go right in. Don't worry about it. Tell the people right at the door, hey, let them in. I say they can come for free. They would come for free, and then after that, I'd be friends with them. They would always come and see me and say, just do me a favor, man. Come dressed up. Because you're going to cause me problems.
I feel like we should do something like that again. Get back into that. Maybe do a bike night at a certain location all the time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I deal with fucking Zanellas, but...
I mean... You and I both went in that scene for a while. We should would you guys go?
Yeah, we said.
Would you guys go?
When I used to do the biker scenes, when I used to do the biker nights and shit like that, man, we said some good fucking. We used to make some good money. Everybody had a good time. All our people fucking policed their own people. There was no fights. I don't remember ever having at any of my biker events that I was throwing at bars. I don't think there's ever a time where we had problems except. There was a couple times where I had to sock up a couple people at the fucking thing, but that's because they're acting up, not because the people, the bikers were acting up. It was because a certain individual, a drunk motherfucker, acting stupid, and he get his ass whooped. Mm-hmm. But we had good times, and we were making some decent money doing it and shit. So who knows? Maybe I will go back into it. Maybe I'll talk to my boy Jarek and see if he wants to go back. I mean, I know he's willing to do it, but maybe I'll get back into doing the Bicicleto Sundays that I was doing a couple years back. Over at Zandejas in San Dimas, we were having good times over there on Sundays and making some decent money doing it. And it was a cool spot, good food, good atmosphere. So I don't know, maybe I will hit up my boy Jarek and see if he wants to go back into, but we have to wait until springtime comes because right now it's not a good time.
Changes,
but when springtime comes. People
so
are
right
writing.
now is the time to coordinate it.
Yeah, right now it's like always you have to do it a couple months in advance. Start putting the shit out there, but maybe it depends on how I feel too, my health and shit. But anyways, that's the video for the day. I just want to talk about how the party scene for her and for me and like all this time. Like I said, we've been together like 5 years, and for all this time, I remember she had told me that she was doing those party things in Vegas. I don't ask. What she did before, I never asked. I don't care, you know what I mean? But like I said, I always knew that there was women that I knew personally that were out there fucking hooking. You know what I mean? They were getting paid. They weren't just out there fucking meet and greet.
I was getting paid for a job.
They were out there.
I wasn't
they were getting paid for the job, but they were also fucking swallowing the dicks over there too.
That wasn't me.
But so this is the first time I even really asked about like, what were you really doing out there? If she told me she was hooking, I wouldn't care.
There was a lot of money involved. So you get if you're trusted. I was trusted. We were trusted. We had a lot of money and we would even count and be like, damn, we have a lot of money here, And once you're trusted, they're gonna ask those people to keep coming back and help them out, and making this party happen. But yeah, the room was paid for. Yes, we got paid for the weekend. Yes, our food was paid for, and we even got some money here. You can for the day or whatever. But it wasn't hooking. That's funny. This whole time you thought that.
I don't think she would admit to hooking anyway. So. But anyway, that's the video. We appreciate you guys watching, and please like, share, subscribe, and we'll be talking to you guys later.